Hey guys, it's Stephanie Riley. Sorry about the wet hair. I just got out of the shower. But anyway, I thought, so someone here on YouTube had requested that I do a little cook with me video and everything like that, so that's what I'm getting ready to do today. There's my father over here. My father is over here, always interrupting my videos.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, he's right. So, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be showing you guys how I cook like all of the noodles. Alright, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna be cooking veggie pasta today. So of course I got all of the stuff from my local grocery store. My dad's food is in there. So this is what we're gonna be making today. As you can see, this is the Garden Delight veggie pasta, and these are in the little like stick forms, I guess. Of course I got I normally don't use ragu. I usually just use the store brand Alfredo sauce, but they didn't have it, so I just got ragu. And then I have some, now you can put whatever, now with pasta you can put whatever you want in it, but I got some celery and of course some green onion. Of course you're going to need a strainer to strain the water out, so but this is like close as I can do it. Spoon to stir it around, and of course a pot with water in it, but I will, put water in it in just a. Okay, so of course grab your pot, and then using tap water, make sure it's cold. Fill it probably about halfway to the top. I always like to rinse the pot out first. Make sure it's clean and everything, nothing is stuck to the bottom. And I like to fill it maybe about halfway. About halfway. And then, of course, once that is, on the stove and everything, I turn on, okay, there we go. I turn on the stove on to high, so that way it can get really hot. And of course, I wait for it to boil before adding the noodles. Now I'm going to be using, for this I'm going to be using about a half a box, because I usually like to eat, I usually like to save a little bit for the next day. And of course, with this being Saturday and me going to church tomorrow, I like to, have some stuff for church. So yeah, let's just wait for a little while. Now, as it's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and pour in some of the noodles. Yeah, that's half a box right there. Even though it doesn't quite look like it, that is half a box. Even though it doesn't look like it, it's half. You don't want to put too much in because these noodles will get bigger over time as you cook it. So you actually want to keep stirring it, so that way no noodles will stick at the bottom. And of course you want to keep your eye on, the stove, so that way, nothing catches fire and everything like that. So just keep stirring until it's a good soft texture. So this is where we are so far with the pasta. I will say to let it stay cooking on high until it boils. This will allow the noodles to soften and to actually cook properly. So let it stay on high for just, I want to say maybe about 10 minutes, I'm guessing. But I usually just use my judgment as to when it's, my own judgment as to when it's ready, and stuff like that. So again, just let it stay on high until it's, boiling and everything like that. Okay, so it's just now beginning to boil. Now, again, I'm using my own judgment, but I would suggest to use the directions on the box. And once it starts boiling over like that, just move it off from the pan for a little bit and then turn the stove down just a little bit. and then put it back on to a boil. Hashtag chef or cook fail, I should say, and just continue to stir like so. Now if you see foam like this, don't worry about it. That's just the water. Oh my Lord, have mercy. I'm just gonna turn this down just a little bit more so that way it won't like boil over while I'm showing you guys, because normally when I cook pasta it's not like this normally, but I'm using the camera as my eyes, so it's a little bit harder for me to, you know, use my judgment and everything with the pasta. But yeah, just continue. But yeah, you kind of have to use your judgment a little bit on when it comes to the pasta. But I definitely would recommend following instructions on the actual box itself, so that way you know when it's done. But again, I'm just using my own judgment of when it's done and ready. So as you can see, I turned the heat up just a little bit more. Now, the best way to do this, see how that little piece of pasta came up. Usually when all the pasta comes up, it usually means it's ready. Usually it means it's ready, but I like to do what's called the taste test, because the pasta has to have a good soft texture to it. So, yeah, even though that the pasta comes up to the surface just like what it's doing right now, definitely taste it and make sure. Yes, it's gonna taste bland, so don't worry about that. It's definitely gonna taste bland because it doesn't have any sauce on it. But this is just so that it can make sure that it has a nice soft texture to it and that it is edible. Make sure that everything is, make sure that it's edible before do anything. Now once it's done, you're going to want to remove it from the stove and of course take a strainer and very, 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 very carefully pour it into the strainer. Woo. As you can see, there's a lot of steam coming out. I don't know if you can see any of the steam whatsoever, but there is a lot of steam. Make sure and of course get like a bowl or something. I'm using this little container thingy, and once all of the water is drained, take it over the sink and pour your noodles into that. Now comes the fun part. Now of course you can add anything. Now if you want to stop right here and just eat the noodles plain, that is totally okay, up to you. But if you are like me and want some little sauce in it and stuff, I chose this Ragu classic Alfredo sauce. So that is what I am going to be using. So this is the Ragu Alfredo sauce. And I'm going to be stirring it first of all. And I'm going to be pouring maybe about half, maybe a little more on it, onto the pasta. Now, like I said, you can add anything you want into the pasta, but this is just, specifically for me. You can add in, eggs, tuna fish, tomatoes, celery, etc., etc. You can add whatever you want. This is just how I like it. That should do it. All right. That should do it. I'll put that to the side real quick. My mom just came in. Alright, now for the vegetables. Now, what I like to put in it, I got over here some green onion and of course some celery, which is what I'm going to be putting into my pasta. If I can take one, so I'm going to be taking one celery, green onion stalk, and of course paper plate, and I am going to be chopping those. And I'm going to be chopping those. Let me get a knife. Now I'm going to be chopping these just like so. Making sure my fingers are away from the sharp pointed edge of the knife. Now keep in mind these are green onions, so and of course onions will make you cry if you ever cut up an onion before. Now, of course, with these little stalk stuff, I just throw them away. Now, usually I would add in about 1 or 2 stalks of the green onion, usually. Whatever I do not use, I will throw away. So I used about 2 of the green onion. I can add in more if I need to when I'm done. And then I'm going to be taking 1 celery stalk. Just kind of, first of all, let me get it out of the bag. Just kind of break that. Put the rest back into the bag. And then I'm going to go ahead and just cut off that part of the stalk. Cut off the top part. And just, don't know why this is easier than the onions, but okay. Again, whatever I don't use, I will throw away. So this is just 1 celery stalk. Now I am going to be stirring it, mixing in all of the ingredients. Like so. Again, if I can add more if I need to, but this looks good right now. I think I may add 1 more onion stalk. 1 more little, yeah, I'm gonna add 1 or 2 more, 1 more green onion, and I will be. Okay, so I added just a little bit more. So I added about 1. So I added 1 green onion and another about half of a celery stalk, and I added just a little bit more Alfredo sauce into it, and this is just mixed it all together, and this is what it looks like when you're finished. Again, you can add anything you want. You can add tomatoes, tuna fish, eggs, spinach, whatever you want in it. You can even not use the same sauce that I did. You can use like mayonnaise and stuff like that. And of course, that is how you make pasta. Yeah, that's how you make pasta. That's how I make pasta. So I'm gonna go ahead, and since it's done, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a little try. Honestly, this is the 3rd time that I've made this, and I can tell you it keeps getting better and better. I will say with the with the onion. If you do put the onions, the green onions or any kind of onion into the pasta, make sure you rinse your mouth out with water or some other sort of drink, because your breath will sting. Or you can even use breath mints, like those little lifesaver breath mints. So yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, night, wherever you are in the world. Happy spring equinox, and I'll talk to you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!